أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ولقد آتينا لقمان الحكمة أن اشكر لله، ومن يشكر فإنما يشكر لنفسه، ومن كفر فإن الله غني حميد. وإذ قال لقمان لابنه وهو يعظه يا بني لا تشرك بالله، إن الشرك لظلم عظيم. ووصينا الإنسان بوالديه حملته أمه وهنا على وهن وفصاله في عامين أن اشكر لي ولوالديك إلي المصير. وإن جاهداك على أن تشرك بي ما ليس لك به علم فلا تطعهما، وصاحبهما في الدنيا معروفا، واتبع سبيل من أناب إلي، ثم إلي مرجعكم فأنبئكم بما كنتم تعملون. يا بني إنها إن تك مثقال حبة من خردل فتكن في صخرة أو في السماوات أو في الأرض يأت بها الله، إن الله لطيف خبير. يا بني أقم الصلاة وأمر بالمعروف وانه عن المنكر واصبر على ما أصابك، إن ذلك من عزم الأمور. ولا تصعر خدك للناس ولا تمش في الأرض مرحا، إن الله لا يحب كل مختال فخور. وقصد في مشيك واغضض من صوتك، إن أنكر الأصوات لصوت الحمير.
When it comes to raising children, we're always looking for the next big thing, right? The latest parenting hack. But what if some of the best advice isn't new at all? What if it comes from an ancient sage named Louqman in a simple talk with his son? Let's dive into this timeless curriculum.
And that's really the big question we're digging into here. We're going to see how Louqman's advice isn't just a random list of rules, but a complete blueprint for building character, from a person's relationship with God all the way to how they act out in the world. So we're going to follow Louqman's step-by-step journey. We'll start with who he was, and then we'll walk through the core pillars of his teaching. You've got faith, family, personal accountability, social responsibility, and then we'll wrap it all up with the defining trait of humility.
All right, so who was this wise mentor, Louqman? Well, he wasn't a prophet. He was a man who was just known for his incredible wisdom. And that's what makes his advice so human and relatable. It's not some distant command. It's a heartfelt lesson coming straight from a loving father. And this is the key. Just listen to the tone. Every single piece of advice starts with this affectionate phrase, "Oh, my dear son." It immediately sets up this foundation of love, reminding us that the best lessons, the ones that really stick, are given in an environment of warmth and connection.
So starting from that loving foundation, Louqman builds his very first lesson. And this is the cornerstone. It's the central pillar that every other piece of advice is going to rest on. There's a reason this is lesson number 1.
The very first thing he teaches is about having a clear spiritual compass. Louqman calls associating anything with God the greatest injustice. This is a huge statement. It basically sets up a moral framework for his son, telling him that understanding your place in the universe, well, that's the starting point for every other good quality you can have.
And right after establishing that relationship with the divine, where does Louqman pivot to? Our earthly source, our parents. This transition is so important. It connects spiritual devotion directly to family duty.
And notice how specific he gets here. Being grateful to your parents is tied directly to being grateful to God. And then there's this special, beautiful shout-out to the mother's sacrifice, carrying her child through weakness upon weakness. What a powerful way to describe the incredible hardship of pregnancy and early motherhood.
Now, this slide shows a lesson that is just remarkably nuanced. Kindness to your parents, that's non-negotiable, always. But obedience, well, obedience has its limits. If their demands clash with your core principles, you're taught to respectfully but firmly hold your ground. That's a pretty sophisticated lesson on integrity and setting boundaries. Okay, so with the foundations of faith and family set, Louqman's curriculum now turns inward. This part is all about building a child's conscience.
their own internal moral compass. And to teach this, he uses this incredible metaphor, a mustard seed. It's one of the tiniest seeds you can even imagine. The lesson is crystal clear. No action, no matter how small or how insignificant it seems, is ever really lost.
Then he just expands on it. Imagine trying to hide that tiny little seed inside a solid rock, or throwing it out into the vastness of space, or burying it deep in the earth. It doesn't matter. Where it is, that's totally irrelevant. So, here's the bottom line. There is absolute accountability. Now, for a young person, this isn't supposed to be scary. It's actually meant to be empowering. It teaches you that every small, secret act of kindness really matters, and that your real integrity is what you do when you think nobody's watching. So once that inner compass is set and pointing true north, the lessons naturally start to move outward. I mean, a strong character isn't meant to just be kept in isolation, right? Louqman now teaches his son how to be an active, positive force in his community. He lays out 4 clear pillars for engaging with society. It starts with your own spiritual core, keeping that strong. From there, you go out and you actively encourage good and discourage what's wrong. But that last piece is so crucial. You have to be patient and resilient when you face challenges. It's a complete formula for making real, lasting change. And now we come to the final lessons, the real finishing touches on a well-rounded character. After covering faith, family, conscience, and community, Louqman zooms in on the little details of personal conduct, and they all circle around one central virtue: humility. The first instruction is about how you interact with people. Don't be arrogant. Don't look down on them or just dismiss them. That physical act of turning your cheek is such a powerful symbol for that internal attitude of arrogance you have to avoid. The second piece of advice is about how you carry yourself. It's a warning against walking with that boastful, arrogant swagger. Humility isn't just in your head. It shows up in your posture, your walk, your whole presence. He finishes with 2 final, really practical tips that are just the signature of a humble and confident person. Walk with purpose, not with arrogance or in a rush, and speak calmly. Don't be loud and overbearing. These are signs of real inner poise. And to make sure the point about lowering your voice really hits home, Louqman uses this unforgettable analogy. He compares a loud, harsh voice to the braying of a donkey. It's such a stark, memorable image, it leaves zero doubt about how unpleasant arrogance actually sounds to other people. So that brings us to the end of this incredible curriculum. It moves from that solid spiritual foundation all the way to the final polish of a humble character. And it leaves us with a question, doesn't it? In our modern world, which is so full of noise and self-promotion and distraction, which one of Louqman's timeless lessons do you think we need to teach the most?